just wanted to open up on some things that I usually kind of keep closed off, and that's the way it is with a lot of my expressions and, poetic metaphor, and even a lot of videos I make. After I make them, I delete them because because if you're in person, you don't want personal information about you out there. Which is kind of funny because I'm torn down the middle. Because there's a side of me that wants to just get everything out, and then there's the other side that wants to keep everything hidden and closed. So, it's an interesting dynamic within those realms. I think we've all come to terms with who we are as a person and see ourselves as a person. But nobody wants to deal with rejection or non understanding. Uh, it's not so much the rejection factor as it is as that there's just so many people out there that haven't come to full awareness of themselves. So because they've buried their deeper hurts and wounds so deeply, they've created these external projections or pictures of what they won't accept. And upon that precipice, all these people that fit that label become the enemy. And you can talk and converse with these people and see through into them, but yet your deeper mother, for me it's not subconscious, I'm fucking aware of it. but but you pick up on it and you're like, I can see that this person doesn't wouldn't even be able to begin to accept these things because they haven't even grown to this awareness within themselves, and therefore I can't even be fully present with this person. And it sucks fucking ass because you would love to be fully present with somebody, but you realize that you can't, and you just end up being like a mentor to people, coaching them through dark times. And when I say these things, I'm not above or beyond. I still go through life. I mean, shit, I literally drink every night just so I can unwind and feel at peace, because a lot of the times throughout my day I'm struck by such an intensity that it's like being hit by this jolt of inner lightning of intensity where you walk around and you're just so like there's part of me that enjoys it there, and indeed, because it's allowed me to achieve a lot of good, amazing things. But on the flip side, there are times that I wish I could just be calm. Uh, I've always been high intensity, for example, and I'm going to tell you some things that I usually don't reveal to most people. I've always been high intensity. So I've always been struck by like an insane surge of adrenaline coursing through me pretty much all waking hours, and then gives me an extreme sense of awareness of everything around me going on. But after my brother's death in 2016, and going through a very dark space, darker than I had previously experienced, I don't know. I really can't wait. I don't know. But my nerves shot. So I got to this place where it's not always noticeable to others, but I'm at such a level of intensity that things just internally feel like it's shaking, and I can't control that. When I drink, bam, steadiness. And I've always been that rock steady person. But, as I've gotten older, I haven't been able to control that. But, so when I get that, adrenaline coursing through me. It's good for a lot of things. It's good for physicality. I can go to the gym and knock out heavy ass sets of deadlifts, one after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, and just keep on carrying on and on and on and on and on. And even when I reach those zones where like I'm ready to pass out, like that just, it keeps me focused. It keeps me in the game. I can be at the end of my physical capacity, but yet the adrenaline overdrive allows me to push beyond. So it's good for that. It was good for the military. Allowed me to get a lot of achievements. Uh, it's good for physical labor. It's been good for physical work. You know, Working various construction trades, doing maintenance. It's been good for doing bouncing, but yet there's the side that makes it uncomfortable because you know you're like a lightning bolt inside, just looking for your place to like let, let that jolt out. So as long as I can let that out, it's good. But areas where it's bad, it's like you get cut over in a speed trap or whatever, and this happened to me like last March. Got pulled over in a speed trap, and the cops like, what are you so nervous about? And it's like, dude, my nerves have been shot for a long time. This is just how I am. This is part of me. Or, even walking into 7-Eleven to buy a 6-pack of beer, whatever, you know, I'll be like, pull my money out, and the dude will be laughing like, what are you so shaking about? And it's like, oh, and I'll fucking snap on those people. I'm like, fuck you, dude. You have no fucking idea. This is just part of who I am. It's not something to fucking be laughed about. And maybe I'll feel bad later because it's like, they can't understand or relate. And, I mean, shit happens. So I've always had a very high-strung, high-intensity nature. And nobody wants to be picked on for the shit that occurs within themselves. Drinking's one of those things at the end of the night that gives me the calm factor and actually takes that away from me, thankfully. And I know some people out there are like, well, don't you think maybe you have like Parkinson's or something? And it's like, no, it's not that bad of a shake. It's actually quite significantly decreased since I finally got back into the swing of things and exercising again. But it's still present, and it still affects me. And it is tough for me to be out in social situations without drinking, because when I'm haven't consumed any alcohol, I'm in such a state of inner flight or fight mode of adrenaline that I'm just super aware of all of my surroundings, and everything's locked down, and I have the most intense gaze, and I'm just like looking around, checking everybody. It only takes like a brief second to catch that person's energy and to look on to the next person, and okay, you judge and you see and whatever. But like, I'm used to high states of stress. I have a very high resting heart rate, which is definitely a stress factor. Even just hanging out with like old high school buddies and stuff, and we're just sitting around checking things out, and somebody had like a Fitbit, and they're like, oh, let's check your resting heart rate. And I used to in old days have like a real low resting heart rate. I got mine checked out, and shit, at like 110, and I've just felt perfectly calm and fine, but damn, it was high as shit. Uh, but you know, a high resting heart rate doesn't mean that you aren't physically fit. Like, I will fucking pour out sweat beads and exercise, and I haven't done a lot of high intensity interval training lately, but I used to do it together with a group, and you know, I never wanted to let anybody beat me, so it was always kind of like a challenge or competition. Internally, you're dying, and you're like, I feel like I'm gonna peel over and just roll into a grave. But if you look over and you're like, oh, I can't let this person beat me, and you just go full intense mode. So my whole life has always been full intensity. I don't know non-full intensity. You know, I've gotten noticed a lot from my intensity. People pick up on that, uh, but I don't always want to be picked up on that for, because, uh, you know, yes, I may be locked down, so to other people I look like a badass or whatever. But internally, I'm fucking broken and scared. You know, it's just I've, over time, I've learned how to channel that intensity into an outward uh, reversal. So it's like there's some times where instead of dropping down into the fear zone, it can trigger the inner demon that kind of silently wishes for that destruction or end. And it's like, wait, you're gonna challenge this and me? And then that just triggers that inner inner laughter, because it's like, you have no fucking idea, but if you want to go there with me, let's go. But you know, I don't really enjoy, there's a part of me that enjoys that, but that's not what I'm all about. I truly love to go back to the deeper depths and connect through in those realms. You know, I'm not evil. I have a lot of good, but I don't wish to paint myself as either side. But I do definitely choose to present the darkness as a wall and barrier of separation to keep people away, because if I'm unapproachable, then I don't have to worry about running into more pain. So, I mean, that's just a simple factor. And it's funny because I've had this conversation a lot of times with many people, and like pretty much every single tattoo I have is an outer measure of darkness. And it took me time to develop through things. Uh, you know, at a younger age, and I'm not that old, I'm only 30. But, you know, through teen years and even 18 in the army and stuff, you know, I had a lot of inner pain, but, uh, you know, it still had my intensity that drove me to achieve things. But I was much better at keeping the darkness within, and on the external being a calm, cool, collective individual who was there as a measure of handing help to another, regardless of whatever, you know. And that's still kind of always maintained, but the more I go through time, uh, the darkness has taken over my exterior. And that's something that I realize is a lot more present. And it sucks. Like, I don't want to be this lockdown individual, but if you throw me into a situation, it's like I'm internally institutionalized, and I just lock down and just even if it's not as intense from my eyes, just my presence and aura is something that's unapproachable, you know. And I don't know, it's just part of me. But underneath that exterior of like the cactus rigidity, I do have, a deeper caring and understanding nature of the heart. But yeah, I mean that's just it's how I come across, how I've always been, uh, to kind of give you a time frame if you want to understand some things. My very first tattoo to my most recent, I'll just give you a breakdown. I'm not even going to go into details because in a lot of these things I'd rather leave a lot of the personal details out because there's so much more story behind things that I'm just not willing to reveal. I'm willing to reveal it to those who I realize are open to understand, but when I come across upon a public forum, I'm not just gonna just put everything out there. But like yeah, we're drawn to what we are. So that was my very first tattoo. Kind of hard to see. Good old Grim Reaper. Second tattoo. Pretty much another form of the Grim Reaper. Third tattoo. Angel of Death on my right hand because I'm right-handed and I knew that this would be the hand to take life from people. What would I get next? Fourth tattoo. Lady Death. And it's kind of hard to make out, but she's got a sword and she's attached to, it's kind of hard to show, to a dragon. So she's enchained to this dragon. And that's kind of been my own inner picture with women. But, let's see, well, I'm just going to keep going down the line. Again, I'm not going to give you a lot of descriptive terms. I'm just keeping things pure external. Let's see, where did I go from there? Okay, so then my next piece, because of, I was sun sign Gemini, cusp of Cancer, but sun sign Gemini still, and I was born in the year of the dragon, earth element, but I liked duality, so I got twin dragons facing the center within an encircled inverted pentagram and a regular pentagram, and in the center of that, the Gemini symbol. So let me see if I can show that. Maybe a little bit harder to. Christ, gotta pull my pants. It's hard to display. I think that may have showed it. So it's like tribal dragons with, again, what I said, encircled, inverted pentagram, regular pentagram. Then, again, I'm not even gonna give a description, but then I got this. It says shy. It's probably one of the more stupid ones. One can only guess why. Anyways, but I am a shy person naturally, so whatever, it fits me. And then, what did I go on to? Okay. Then I got this one, which is hard to show in this stupid ass fucking light. God. Alright. I don't know if you can see it, because it's hard for me to see from this angle. But it's like a warrior dude with a sword. And I like that he has a tattoo up on his bald head, kind of symbolizing something that I won't reveal. That has meaning to me. And then after that, what did I do? Let's see. Oh yeah, I got this I was married at an early age and separated for a long time, and I really didn't care about getting a divorce, because what the fuck do I want to spend money for? But once I got the divorce, I did get this, and it symbolizes to me not only love, but the pain and the flames and enduring through all things. And 3 is a pretty significant number to myself, so I got that. And then I went on to get this one, which is a tribal Viking sword with Valkyrie wings. There's pretty much this one and this one supremely interconnect, but I won't get into the stories on public forum, because I don't think those are stories most people would relate with. So you keep it at, on base level. And then the last thing that I got was, again, everything is epimorphous. So this was a sigil of Marchosias. And Marchosias comes from the grimoire of the Necronomicon, which is all pure fantasy. But I just happen to really identify with the symbology of Marchosias, who is this part griffin, part wolf being, to both appear in the form of male or female, that is a superior fighter in charge of a whole host of demons. But from that's the more exterior realms. What I've truly identified with is, the ability to reveal the truth of a matter. So rather than the superior fighting only externally, it was more so of a mental realm, to be able to pierce through and reveal truth and see. So I super identified internally with that, and I was like, yeah. There's been more that I've wanted to get, and I will. Things are just pricey. So, it's been a while since I've had a new one. But I will be getting new ones. I already have a list picked out in mind. It's just a matter of when. But yeah. It's, we have an external image, and we get to choose what we present to the world around us. And it's like, I create all this externalness because I don't want to just let anybody into who I am. Because, a heart's a heart. Anybody can stab that. So keep people away has been my thing But when I do cross paths with people that I can perceive and see that there's more underneath, then that's when I'm willing to open up. But even when I do open up in those realms, sometimes I will still see where people are not willing to go past their own inner realms. And I pick up on that quite often. And it really sucks. I mean, I really hate that. And what I mean by that is you may come across somebody that's just willing to gobble up any kind of information that you're putting forth, but you can see where they're still not being honest with who they are or what they've been through. And it's like, man, I don't have time for this. Like you know, if you want me to be your counselor, I'll be your counselor. But if you want to have a relationship with me, you've got to be able to discuss things. And it's okay. You know, nobody has to, we're not perfect beings. We don't have to be perfectly healed. Uh, just be honest with your own depths. If you're the kind of person that's just going to point a blame finger upon everybody else and you're never going to reveal a personal wound to me, then that already shows me that you're too highly guarded to get to. And at best, all I could do would be meet you upon those external depths and keep deeper truths of myself hidden. And I don't want to do that. You know, I want to be able to lay it all out on the table. So, you know, that's the only thing I've ever truly longed for is two people that could, you know, because I'm not going to reject anything. I know what it is to be human. Uh, there's a lot more that goes on that I don't reveal in public form. And yeah, so I understand. I'm not gonna push you away, you know. I would actually welcome and accept you. If somebody was to openly open the depths of themselves and of all their beauty and terror, and like I would fall in love almost instantly. But a lot of times we don't do that, you know. And I get it. You know, we all want to put our best face and mask forward. But yeah, life is life. Can't complain. Can complain, but it is what it is. We live on, we endure, we survive, we succeed. So never give up on the true desires within. Push forward in the areas that you can, you know. And I don't know, I wish I had more beautiful philosophical terms to give, but sometimes life is just life. And I'm no different than you. I'm going through the same notions. I'm just willing to be a bit more open and honest than most. But again, I still keep some things hidden because I have ran into enough scenarios where people are like, it's like, I laugh because it's like, I see that in you too. Um, but I get it. You know, we have those areas of shame and rejection. And until we learn to open up about some of those things, we're never going to be able to hear another story. So that's fine. You know, you don't have to receive me. In fact, I'm quite used to rejection. Even though I accept people for who they are, I realize that we all have our wounds, we all have our traumas, we all have our turmoil, and until somebody is willing to be open about it, you're going to be the enemy to them. Because if you want to say, hey, I can see this in you, but they haven't even, you don't have to heal from it. But if you could just be open and honest about it and say, yeah, that's in me too. Like, but most people wouldn't be like that. They'd be like, and then all of a sudden, bam, you're the enemy. And that gives me a heavy sigh of release where I just have to let loose because I can realize and say, I get it. Best of wishes to you. And, I didn't mean any harm by anything. I was just simply trying to relate. But yeah, so it can be tough because we have emotions. Nobody likes to be received that side, but I'm used to it. So it's like, I get you, It's a funny thing to go through. Life, what a crazy adventure. Anyways, so yeah, that's why I like to turn to poetic expression because I can describe a lot more through metaphor, where it's not a directional I, me, or you. It's poetic descriptions, and people can relate to metaphor and pictures because we're hidden within those realms, you know, uh, and things can be interpreted a lot of ways. And no way of interpretation is wrong because it all comes back down to one's own personal reality. And so I enjoy going within and getting those things out. And I find that there's a lot of ways to do that. So, find your own way of creativity because we all need it. You just can't live in this world as a robot going through all these tasks that we're required to do from day to day of work and eat and sleep and whatever else. And, I think we need ways to be able to more express ourselves. So find the passions that exist within you and follow those things. And I admit it's challenging because I like to express, but I also have the side that I wish to hide. It's there within me too. So I'm not immune to any of the words that I speak. I'm not beyond it all. I'm part of it. Life. Here we are. Until next time, we should so meet. I bid you adieu.